Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report with the Raiders news that you need to know today and some NFL rumors that I saw around the league that are around one team that we do not like very much, but then also some interesting quarterback rumors. So what we're going to be talking about here on today's show, I got an update of the Devin White contract. I'll tell you what the details are, and I'm feeling a lot better about the deal. Also, who does John Spytek's kid want the Raiders to draft? It's kind of a fun story, and I would imagine that John's going to listen to his kid in terms of what he said. We'll see if it ends up happening. Joe Milton trade rumors are aplenty right now. And according to the Patriots, a lot of teams are interested. Got some Geno Smith talk here on today's show, and then an NFL schedule / Raiders schedule thing that I want to be able to discuss. I know that Chugs isn't here, but anytime that I get information, I do want to be able to share it. And the big reason why I wanted to make this video was around the Jeanty comments, but also this Devin White contract I wanted to be able to share. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are always turned on. Anytime we end up dropping anything, I want you guys to be able to see it. Before we get in to all of that, I do want to say rest in peace to John Vella. The Raiders posted on Twitter today. The Raiders family mourns the passing of John Vella, a standout on the dominant Raiders offensive lines of the 1970s and a starter on Oakland's Super Bowl championship team. Vella originally joined the Raiders as a second-round draft pick selection in 1972 out of USC, where he earned consensus All-American honors as a tackle in 1971. A versatile performer and a ferocious competitor, Vella played both guard and tackle, seeing action in 84 games with 48 starts and 8 seasons with the Silver and Black. He finished his career with Minnesota in 1980. The prayers of the entire Raider Nation are with the Vella family at this time. I obviously wasn't around to watch him, but if there's one thing that I will always appreciate from doing this show, it's how many of the OG Raiders fans will always try to say, hey, Mitch, hey, to some of the younger fans, you should go check out this guy, go watch this player. This is somebody that, was a true Raider. I asked my dad what he thought about John Vella, and my dad's not a Raiders fan, but he's somebody I think that respects hardworking people and respects like that old school, I'm going to beat the F out of you mentality, and that's kind of what he said John Vella was. So RIP to the great John Vella, once a Raider, always a Raider. All right, so let's get into first what I want to talk about is the Devin White contract. It is being reported by Overthecap and Spotrac that White's contract is a one-year deal. He gets cash, which is $1.17 million is his total deal, but the cap hit for the Raiders is going to be $1.03 million. When you give a contract out like that, that is not somebody that you would sit up here and go, that's somebody that I project to be a starter. I'm going to be honest. When I saw John Spytek's comments about Devin White, about we're confident, resurgence was a word that he used about playing weak side linebacker, I was concerned that they were going to give him more money and that this was going to be something that they counted on to be a starter. Seeing that that's the contract for somebody who's 28 years old who does have upside, I like this deal a lot more now. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, I think Devin White's going to be a starter on the Raiders. No, but that deal tells me that they view him as a depth piece. And if you view Devin White as a depth piece and you allow him to be an athlete instead of an every down linebacker, I do think that there is a chance that that deal works. So if you were somebody that was totally against the Devin White deal, like I was against it, take a deep breath. $1.03 million. There was absolutely no risk at all in that deal, which it turned from a deal that I was scared about to now a deal that I'm feeling much more better about. All right, let's go to the next thing here on the show, and it's around what John Spytek's kid told his dad. And what I love about this is my dad is my best friend. Like, that's my dude through and through, and, we've always been able to share what we thought, but just thinking about a young version of me telling my dad if my dad was the GM of the Raiders, what I wanted him to do. And I think that this is getting legs and becoming popular because of what happened on Hard Knocks last year, where John Mara's kid was like, you need to trade up for Jaden Daniels. You only get this job once. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit. So here's the exact quote, and this is from John Spytek. My oldest son has made it no secret that if we don't pick Ashton Jeanty at 6, that he's walking out of the family and he's going to find somebody else. Probably whoever takes Ashton. He confessed chuckling. So his son Jack obviously wants John to draft Jeanty. Now, Spytek goes on to say that this is more from like a fantasy football touchdowns perspective, but he also apparently did this. This is from Spytek. He walked right into our building and basically told Mark Davis, if my dad doesn't take Ashton Jeanty, he's doing a bad job. And I know a lot of people out here want the Raiders to draft Jeanty, so how about this? I kind of give the kid a little bit of credit, right? Like sometimes you got to tell your dad what to do. And, you know, if you're in a little bit of a coin flip situation, if I was John Spytek and if I was picking between Ashton Jeanty and Tedero McMillan, I'll tell you this right now. The tiebreaker for me would be like, all right, my kid wants me to take Jeanty. I'll take Jeanty. Obviously, I'm kidding in that a little bit. Like you want him to make the best decision for this football team. But at the same time, taking Jeanty at 6 is not going to be a bad pick, and I don't care how you shake it. So if you respect the kid's hustle, and if you also want John Spytek to take Ashton Jeanty at number 6, I want you to click this like button right now. Let's go to the next thing coming up here on the show, and it's going to be around Joe Milton. And there's a lot of trade rumors regarding Milton, which doesn't surprise me at all. And apparently, one of the top Patriots beat reporters reported this morning that the Patriots have received multiple trade inquiries for Joe Milton, according to multiple sources. Here's what I'll say about the NFL. Here's what I'll say about the Patriots. Do we think that it's a little bit strange that I haven't really seen many teams say we're interested in Joe Milton, but yet the Patriots are like, everybody's interested in Joe Milton? And when I hear that, it doesn't shock me. Milton is not a quarterback that fits at all with what Josh McDaniels wants to do. The Patriots also have Drake Maye, and New England went out and signed Josh Dobbs to a 2-year, $8 million deal. Is that a lot of money? No, but that tells me that Joe Milton is clearly the quarterback 3 in New England, and I know that he had a good year. He put up some good numbers last season. He was 22 of 29, 241 yards, had a passing touchdown, also had 16 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Milton, no doubt about it, has got an elite arm, and he could chuck the ball further than Uncle Rico. But when you actually look at what he is as a quarterback, it's extremely raw, and I get why some Raiders fans are intrigued by him because, you know, he's somebody where he needs a year or two to learn, and then he becomes an interesting project. I know that he's super, super talented, but the amount of times that I've asked or been asked, Mitch, should the Raiders just straight up trade for Joe Milton and you give them Aiden O'Connell? How about this? I'll be real. I think if a team trades for Milton, it's going to be a 7th round pick. So if you're the Raiders, you got pick number, 7th round. That's what, 222. Would you offer that for Joe Milton, or would you just trade Aiden O'Connell straight up? So here's going to be a question that I want a lot of people to answer. And you know what? I'll probably end up making it the pinned comment here on today's show. Who do you think is the better quarterback? Do you think it's Aiden O'Connell, or do you think it's Joe Milton? My answer is going to be coming up here after this YouTube ad break. This might shock you. I'm going to take Aiden O'Connell over Joe Milton, and it's because I just don't think Milton is going to be good enough or is ever going to be good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and I don't know if he's somebody that I would want to have as a backup because I don't know how well he's going to be able to go out there and execute a team. When I look at Milton, I look at Aiden, I don't look at them as starting quarterbacks. I look at who's the more valuable quarterback to on a roster, and I would say it's easily Aiden, and I would say it's easily Aiden on probably almost all 32 NFL teams. The only reason why I would be intrigued by Joe Milton is for and I always say it, you bring in a tush-push QB. Tush-push is still to be allowed. If it was 3rd down and 1 and you put Milton behind Jackson Powers-Johnson, in all honesty, I think we're picking up that 1st down. But if I'm trying to build a quarterback and if I'm trying to build for what I think is the smartest, I think Aiden O'Connell is actually a better quarterback than Joe Milton. Coming up next here on the show, let's talk about Geno Smith because a little bit of an update here from John Spytek, and then at the end, we're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and what they just proposed to the NFL. It might ruin a certain holiday for you. Before I get into that, though, huge shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Springtime is here and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, which, by the way, first inning runs is a lot of fun. And I used to always talk about this during football season where I love doing running back rushing yards in his first 5 carries or receiver reception or receiving yards in his first 2 catches. And I say that because, when you're watching a game, that's a long time, 3 hours. When you're watching something short, either 1 inning or first 5 carries, you're able to watch it quickly and you're kind of able to get like that Prize Picks glory right away. But I do really encourage first inning runs. It's hella fun. On Prize Picks, though, you can mix and match player projections from different sports, combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. So go down to the comments section, download the app today, use code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Let's talk about Geno Smith because John Spytek recently spoke about Geno, and obviously the question that's being thrown out to him is in regards to what is going on with this contract situation? Is a contract going to get done? Here's what Spytek had to say. I don't really want to talk too much about contracts and negotiations other than I'll just say we are looking forward to having him not just this year, but for the years to come. When we get everything where it needs to be, he'll be around, and I'm confident that that'll happen very soon. There is John Spytek telling you, and again, I'm not surprised that we're going to get a contract extension done with Geno, and we'll see what the money ends up being. I think it's going to be probably a 2 or a 3-year extension, but there is another example of the Raiders are going to get this deal done, and there's been some people wondering around the nation, hey, is this deal not going to get done? And I know there's a lot of Raiders fans out there that are like, well, Geno's never done anything for the Raiders. Why are we already giving him a contract extension? I hear you loud and clear. The unfortunate answer to that is it's just not how the NFL works, and the Raiders would have never traded for him if that would have been the case. So Spytek is planning for this one to get done, but the important quote in there is we're looking forward to having him not just this year, but for the years to come. The long-term plan for the Raiders for, I would say, the next 2 to 3 years, his name is Geno Smith. Let's go to the final thing that I want to talk about here on the Raiders Report, again, sponsored by PrizePicks, and it's in regards to the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? So according to The Athletic, after back-to-back appearances on Christmas, the Chiefs have formally requested to become a permanent fixture on the holiday. The reason why this is intriguing is because we know the Thanksgiving Day games. Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving. The Lions always play on Thanksgiving. And those have been deals that have been set in place for a very long time. It wouldn't shock me if the NFL does try to figure out just Christmas teams every single year, and maybe they decide to go with the Kansas City Chiefs because of how popular that team is with Patrick Mahomes right now. I will tell you this. Seeing chat sports the way it works and seeing the way fan bases react, I think Kansas City's got one of the worst fan bases out there. I'm not afraid to admit that. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. I don't know if the NFL is going to do it. But again, I wouldn't be shocked because they always seem to do things for the Kansas City Chiefs. The other reason why I wanted to be able to talk about this, though, is because there are rumors in regards to the very first games of the NFL season. So a few weeks ago, probably a few months ago actually at this point, I put out a tweet that said that the Raiders have a 25% chance to play either that Thursday or play on that Friday, and it's because the Raiders will go up against the Eagles and they will play against the Chargers. Just the question is, we don't know who's going to be going up against Philly, and we don't know who's going to be going up against the Chargers. Philly plays on that Thursday, opening kickoff. Friday is the Chargers, and we don't know who they're going to end up playing in that game. From what it sounds like it's going to be Chiefs-Chargers in that Friday slate, and I would be shocked if the Raiders play on opening day. So the reason why I wanted to say this is because if anybody remembered me saying there's a 25% chance the Raiders play on that either Friday or Thursday, I would say now that that number has gone drastically down because according to the Athletic's Nate Taylor and Daniel Popper, the Chiefs are the front runners to take on the Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in what would be the NFL's second ever game in South America. So because that would have been a cool opportunity for the Raiders, and because there was some news that happened earlier this week where the Raiders are now going to be in New Zealand and Australia, and in 2026, I think you could actually see the Raiders have a game over there. But from what it looks like right now, they're not going to be playing on that early Friday, and I don't think they're going to be playing on that early Thursday, week 1 slate for the NFL. That's all the news that I have for you guys here on the Raiders Report. If anybody's planning on watching the Dallas Mavericks game tonight, I'm going to be going. One of my buddies, he invited me if anybody's a Hawks fan. I'll be real. I don't really give a shit about the game all that much. I just want to see what life's like after Luka. And one of my good old buddies, who I hate to admit it, is a Chiefs fan, invited me. So who knows? Maybe we get on the big screen. Be on the lookout for us. But the big parts of this show are, one, Devin White, 1 year, $1.03 million contract. Makes me feel a lot better about it. I still want to see how we handle the linebacker position, but it does make me feel a lot better about it. John Spytek's kid wants him to draft Ashton Jeanty. I would say that there's definitely a chance around that, though. I'm just telling you, there's another player that's been catching some wind in some NFL circles around the Raiders at number 6. I'm going to be dropping a video later probably over the weekend on who I think that player is. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and that's definitely a video to be on the lookout for. Also, Joe Milton trade rumors. I don't think the Raiders are going to be one of those teams, but I also wouldn't be shocked if Milton has end up dealt. The Geno Smith contract, I do think ends up happening at some point. Doesn't seem like the Raiders are in all that much of a rush, but the important terms there were both Spytek and Carroll view him as a long-term option, and I would say it's probably going to be 2 to 3 years. I hope the Chiefs don't play on Christmas every year. It would really, really suck and maybe ruin a lot of people's Christmases watching this show. All right, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to the Raiders Report. If you're looking for even more content, you can click the subscribe button. It's going to be located right here. If you want even more videos that Jeremy Chugs and I have made, you can click on this video or you can click on this video. Both of these videos are recommended by YouTube in terms of what you've already previously watched, so I would imagine you're probably going to like them. Please go check them out.